Hey, it's Ellie. Welcome to a Planet Zoo speed build. Today I am building a flamingo habitat. Now, I did show off this habitat already in my Fly Through Sandbox episode, and all the speed builds that you see from now on, unless I say otherwise, are definitely going to be from that same zoo. I sort of actually forgot to record some of my habitats when I was building them, or I also ended up changing my mind about 1,000 times when I was building this zoo, so sometimes I would record it but then go back and change literally everything so that nothing was the same as when I had recorded it, and then I decided just to delete that footage because that would be silly to show a speed build of something that I didn't actually keep in the zoo. So yeah, this is the one exhibit that I built and did recorded from scratch, and it's still the same. I didn't change anything yet. I might go back and redo some of this habitat because I don't love it, but I think it's nice enough that I'm gonna keep building and just fill up my zoo for now, and then when I've built all the habitats that I wanted to, I will go back and edit anything that I feel needs editing. And so I'll probably go back at some point, but not for now. Anyway, I had a little bit of trouble with the terrain in this habitat because I didn't realize that there was a feature to remove water, and that it lets you edit the terrain underneath. If there's water in it, you can't edit the terrain. I don't think they had that feature in Planet Coaster, so it took me a little while to figure it out, and so that's why my water looks really messed up right now. And I'm trying to build a waterfall that kind of cascades down into the rest of the exhibit, and like I said, it turned out okay, but it's not great or anything. And yeah, I don't think I really have anything else to say about this habitat, so I'm going to talk about the zoo and what I think of it so far, as in the full game release. And I have to say, for the most part, I'm really enjoying the game. Like, it, especially for the building, it meets all of my expectations for everything that I wanted to do in a zoo game, and just let my creativity out with some of the exhibits and whatnot. But there is a pretty big problem that I and a lot of other people are still having, which is the fact that our zookeepers are not feeding our animals properly. And that's really frustrating. It's especially frustrating because this was a major problem in the beta. Like, tons of people had this problem, and they had 2 weeks to test it then with all the players that were having the beta to try to fix it, and then they had a whole nother month after that almost to again test it and try to fix the bug, and they still have it. Now we're almost a month after the full release. It's been I guess closer to like 2-ish weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, whatever, but still it's been quite a while and still no word on a bug fix. And they've come out with a few tips to avoid this, but honestly the only way I can avoid it sometimes is not to have any food enrichment in my habitat, because that seems to be the main issue when there's a food enrichment item and then the regular feeder bowl or whatever it is. The zookeeper will generally, if anything at all, fill the enrichment feeder and not the regular food bowl, and so a lot of the times the animals don't have enough food in that food enrichment thing to live off of, or like I said, sometimes they don't fill either of them, which is really frustrating because then your animal gets no food at all. And they said one of their tricks was to make sure there's zookeeper huts available, but I know there is in my zoo because I have a large zoo hut for like 2 exhibits, and that's it. I never have more than 2 exhibits in my work zones, so there's no reason that the feeders aren't being refilled. Like, the zookeeper should have no trouble getting to a keeper hut and filling up the bowls. It doesn't matter where I seem to place them in the habitat. Like, I always make sure they don't have any trouble reaching the food bowl where I place it. They can always navigate to it, but they just don't fill it sometimes. It's so obnoxious, and I think only one so far, but one of my animals has died of starvation, and the rest of them just don't have any food enrichment in their habitat because they can't, because then they won't get fed properly. And so yeah, I'm very disappointed that Frontier hasn't fixed that issue yet. I really don't understand why they aren't working day and night to fix this issue, as it's sort of a game-breaking bug when your animals aren't being fed, and it's a zoo management game that requires you to have happy living animals in your zoo. Yeah. But like I said, I guess other than that, I haven't really encountered any major bugs or anything. I haven't encountered anything that I really intensely dislike the way that it works or anything like that. So aside from the zookeeper bug, I'm very happy with the game. I'm pretty happy with Frontier's work on the game. They seem to be really invested in it, which again is why I don't understand why this is still a bug that's happening, but maybe it's more complicated than I understand. I mean, I'm sure it is. I'm not a game developer. I just feel like the feeders should get filled, you know. That's, as I said, one of the most important things in a zoo management game. So yeah, I'm almost done here with the habitat. I'm just putting in some shelters, and I really dislike the way I built these shelters, but I just wanted something quick and easy to build here, because I don't really like building shelters, to be honest. Like, I think I would prefer the Zoo Tycoon, just the generic buildings. I mean, they have blueprints in the game that are generic shelters, but I don't use blueprints, so that's not gonna happen in this one. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned that. I think I mentioned it in my fly-through episode in the description, but all of my builds don't have any sort of pre-made blueprints or structures or anything. Like, I make everything piece by piece from scratch. There's no using of anybody else's ideas or anything. Oh, and another thing I didn't mention is that I am actually modeling this zoo off of a zoo that I used to visit when I was a child. I haven't been there since I was a kid, and I found an outdated map online on their website, but it seems like they haven't updated it in a while because they have a bunch of new exhibits that aren't listed in the map, and so I don't know, I'm just gonna work with my memory and the map as best I can. Mostly I'm following the map, but as far as visually how things look, I'm more relying on my memory, because they don't really have any photos or anything that I can reference in how the habitats and other parts of the zoo look. I did notice something interesting that never occurred to me before, but all of the food items, like all the cafes and stuff, were in the front of the zoo. And I realized they probably don't want people walking around the zoo with food, because people are dumb and they'll try to feed the animals. And so I guess that just occurred to me. I'm not going to be able to do that in my zoo, because that's not how the Planet Zoo works. People would get really mad if they couldn't find any place to eat or drink, but yeah, just an interesting fact that I didn't think about before. Anyway, the video is about over, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be posting a lot more Planet Zoo videos coming up. It's basically all I'm playing right now, even though I still have to get through the Long Dark Story mode. Episode 3 now is out and I'm so behind. I haven't even finished episode 2 yet, but anyway. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye.